She used to believe love was a luxury she couldn't afford. In the wind-beaten town of Dixon Ridge, a girl named Clara Hayes chose survival over romance. Life had dealt her a cruel hand early on. Her father died in a mining accident. Her mother was taken by fever, and the family ranch was lost to debt. Clara found herself standing on the porch of an empty house with just a suitcase and a name nobody cared about anymore. That was the day Richard Beaumont rode into her life. Richard wasn't just the richest rancher in the West, he was the richest man in 3 counties. He had golden spurs, polished boots, a ranch with 20 hired hands, and a reputation that made men nod with respect and women envy his future bride. He spoke softly, like a man who always got what he wanted without raising his voice. He offered Clara safety, a home, food, an end to the hunger and the constant fear of what tomorrow might bring. And so, without a single heartbeat of romance or the blessing of love, Clara said yes. Richard married her in the little white chapel outside Dixon Ridge. The whole town called her lucky, but Clara felt more like a bird placed in a beautiful cage lined with velvet. Richard's ranch was magnificent, but cold, a place of wealth, not warmth. He worked long hours, spoke little, and saw his wife not as a partner, but as something polished to be placed on a shelf. The servants called her Mrs. Beaumont, but she never heard her own name spoken with gentle affection. The nights were quiet, the days were silent, and Clara quickly learned that safety can feel an awful lot like loneliness. One late afternoon, just as winter began to settle across the plains, Clara rode out alone toward the south pasture. She desperately needed air, the kind that filled her lungs instead of suffocating her, and that was when she first saw him. A cowboy stood near a broken fence, a hammer in his hand, his hat tipped low. His clothes were worn, his boots were patched, and his horse looked thin and dusty. But his eyes, they carried something Clara hadn't seen in months. Kindness. He tipped his hat as she rode closer. "Mornin', ma'am," he said, his voice soft. "Fence was fallen. Figured your cattle might run if it wasn't fixed." Clara frowned, confused. "But you don't work for my husband." He gave a faint smile. "I don't work for anyone, ma'am. Just saw some trouble and thought I'd help." His name was Eli Carter, a drifter, a ranch hand without a ranch. A man with nothing, except a good heart. Clara thanked him, fully expecting him to ride off, but he stayed, hammering away quietly, as if that broken fence deserved his full attention, even if no one was paying him for it. When he finally mounted his horse, he tipped his hat again. "Ma'am, sometimes the world gives back what you put into it. You stay safe out here." For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Clara smiled. Days passed, and she thought she'd never see him again. Then came the storm. A violent winter wind swept across Dixon Ridge, rattling windows and pushing the cattle toward the dangerous cliffs. Workers scrambled to keep the herd from scattering, and Richard rode out, ordering every hand on the ranch to help. Clara stood near the barn, lantern held high when she saw a lone horse struggling through the deep snow. It was Eli. He had come back, and this time there was worry etched in his eyes. "Your fences are down on the north side," he shouted over the howling wind. "If we don't move the herd now, they'll be gone by morning." Richard recognized him immediately. His voice was as sharp as the biting wind. "We don't need help from some wandering saddle tramp." But Eli didn't back down. He stood his ground. "Sir, this isn't about pride. It's about saving your cattle. Let me help." Richard's jaw tightened, his pride thicker than the storm itself. Clara saw the immediate danger and the stubbornness that could ruin everything. She stepped in front of her husband, her voice pleading. "Richard, please, the herd will die out there. Let him help." The rancher stared at her for a long, tense moment, then at Eli. His pride fought a losing battle against reason. "Fine," Richard muttered, "but you take orders, and you're paid nothing." Eli just nodded. "Didn't come for money." They rode out together into the blizzard. Richard, Eli, and Clara right behind them, her lantern shaking in her trembling hands. The snow was blinding, and the sounds of the panicked cattle were lost in the howling wind. Hours crawled by, hooves sinking deep into the snow, breath freezing in the air. Eli worked like a man with something to prove, circling the herd, whistling, pushing the cattle back toward the safety of the barn. Richard watched him, a deep suspicion chiseling its way into his features. When the storm finally broke, the cattle were safe. The exhausted workers returned, their horses trembling from the cold and the effort. Clara climbed down from her horse, her legs weak, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and relief. Eli tipped his hat to her again. "Glad you kept your ranch, ma'am." Clara looked at him, truly looked at him, and felt a warmth spread through her in this world of ice. "You saved everything," she whispered, but Richard's voice cut through the quiet moment like a knife. "He saved nothing. My ranch would have stood just fine without him." Eli started to turn away, but Clara reached out and touched his arm. It was a small gesture, but it was enough for Richard's eyes to darken with a cold fire. "Eli," she said softly, her voice carrying a newfound strength. "Will you stay? We have room in the bunkhouse. You've earned a place at this ranch." A heavy silence fell. Richard's stare was sharp and frigid, and Eli, tired, frostbitten, and humble, looked between the wealthy rancher and his lonely wife, knowing exactly what it meant if he said yes. He removed his hat, his gaze steady on Clara. "Ma'am, I'll stay, not for the ranch, but because good people deserve help when they need it." Richard turned away abruptly, his anger buried beneath a smile that wasn't a smile at all. In that moment, Clara felt something shift deep inside her, something she had tried to bury the day she married for safety. Hope. But she knew that hope can be a dangerous thing on a ranch ruled by pride. That night, as the lanterns dimmed and the wind settled to a whisper, Richard Beaumont stood in the deep shadows of the barn, watching Clara speak to the poor cowboy. His jaw clenched, his fists tightened, and he whispered into the darkness, "He's not staying here long." In the quiet hum of twilight, as the sun paints the sky in shades of orange and rose, a lone figure walks a dusty road. This is the story of a brown dog, his loyal heart heavy with weariness, his shadow stretching long behind him. He's tired, confused, and the pang of hunger is a constant companion. Yet, in his gentle eyes, a flicker of hope remains, a quiet belief that somewhere a better chance awaits. He pads softly through the world, a silent observer. The trees whisper in the evening breeze, children's laughter fades in the distance, and the town slowly tucks itself in for the night as streetlights begin to glow. The warm, inviting scent of fresh bread wafts from a bakery, a tempting aroma for a hungry traveler. But he doesn't lunge or whine. With a patient heart and quiet dignity, he continues his journey, a testament to his gentle soul. The scene is tinged with a soft sadness, but it's a hopeful one, celebrating the quiet courage of a spirit that refuses to be broken. Then he stops. Bathed in a warm, welcoming glow is a hotel, a beacon of light in the fading day. Laughter spills from its doors as guests arrive, and the lobby radiates a sense of peace and safety. He watches from the edge of the light, a silent spectator to the cheerful scene inside. Waiters gliding with trays of food, a smiling receptionist, the orderly calm of a well-kept space. A moment of hesitation flickers across his face. Is there a place for him in a world so bright? Just then, the hotel owner, a man with kindness etched in the lines around his eyes, steps outside. He sees the tired, hopeful dog looking in. Instead of shooing him away, he moves slowly, crouching down to meet him at his level. "You look tired, little friend," he says, his voice a gentle melody. A bowl of water and a small portion of food appear, a simple offering that means the world. The dog's tail gives a shy, grateful wag. He's been seen. He matters. After he's eaten, he doesn't run off. He sits patiently before the owner, his posture a silent plea for a chance. The man understands. With a gentle pat on the head, he invites him in. The dog is given a small, meaningful job. He becomes the official greeter, his wagging tail a warm welcome to every guest. He helps carry small bags, his determination shining, and even joins the cleaning staff with a tiny broom, sweeping the lobby with earnest concentration. The hotel staff don't just tolerate him, they embrace him, their smiles and kind words making him feel truly at home. Day by day, his confidence blossoms. He learns to carry laundry, guide guests to their rooms with a proud trot, and serve napkins with a flourish that makes everyone smile. The children adore him, their happy giggles following him down the hall. The hotel, already a pleasant place, becomes even brighter, filled with the warmth and joy this little dog brings. The owner watches, his heart swelling with pride at the dog's unwavering loyalty and dedication. He's not just a stray anymore, he's an essential part of their team. To mark his official status, the owner presents him with a special gift, a smart little vest, emblazoned with the hotel logo. As he puts it on, the entire staff bursts into applause. The dog stands a little taller, his chest puffed out with a pride he has truly earned. It's a powerful reminder that kindness and hard work can transform a life. His responsibilities grow with his confidence. Soon, you can find him at the reception desk, perched on a stool with a pair of tiny glasses on his nose, diligently checking guests in and arranging room keys. He's the first one up in the morning, ensuring the hotel is spotless and ready to welcome the day. The owner, smiling, gathers his staff and declares, he's not just a worker anymore, he is family. In that moment, the dog's face lights up with a joy so pure it could melt any heart. His fame begins to spread. Guests take photos with the helpful hotel dog, sharing his story on social media. Soon, news reporters arrive, eager to feature this incredible tale of transformation. The story isn't just about a dog. It's about how a single act of compassion can ripple outwards, creating waves of positivity. With his newfound celebrity comes a salary, and the owner helps him open a small savings account, a symbol of a secure and stable future. And one day, parked outside the hotel, is a cute little car. It's not for show. It's the ride of a respected professional, a way to travel with the dignity he has so rightfully earned. As another beautiful sunset bathes the hotel in a golden light, he stands proudly at the entrance wearing his uniform, his car parked beside him. Guests smile and wave, the entire scene a portrait of belonging. His journey reminds us of a simple, powerful truth. When one door closes, kindness has the power to open another. A single good deed, a moment of compassion, can change a life forever. In the golden light of the sprawling West, true wealth isn't measured in land or gold, but in the quiet strength of the human heart. On a ranch where ambition often spoke louder than words, a story of quiet courage was about to unfold, seen through the eyes of a woman named Clara. Clara's days were woven into the fabric of the ranch, a life of comfort and predictability beside her husband, Richard, a man driven by work and pride. But lately her gaze was drawn to a simpler, more profound sight. A poor cowboy named Eli, whose presence was as steady and unassuming as the ancient hills. She watched him from a distance, a silent observer of his daily rhythm. Eli wasn't a man of grand gestures or loud pronouncements. His heroism was written in the small, consistent acts of a good man. He'd mend a broken fence not just to fix it, but with a gentleness that respected the wood and the wire. He guided the horses with a calm hand, his voice a low murmur that soothed their wild spirits, ensuring they moved safely, without fear. Clara saw him tending to the smallest of creatures, his movements slow and deliberate, his focus absolute. There was a kindness in his hands, a dedication in his posture that spoke of a deep, inner integrity. While others sought reward or recognition, Eli simply worked. He did what was right, not for applause, but because it was the only way he knew. Soft, hopeful music seemed to follow him, a melody of calm and quiet strength. In her heart, a new kind of admiration began to bloom, a quiet respect for the man who owned nothing, yet seemed to possess everything that truly mattered. One afternoon, drawn by this unspoken respect, Clara walked out into the sun-drenched yard. "Eli," she called softly. He turned, his work-weathered face breaking into a humble, almost surprised smile. "The fences look stronger than they have in years," she said, her voice genuine. "You've done so much for this place." Eli just shook his head, a gesture of pure humility. "It's just what needed doing, ma'am. The ranch gives us a home. It's only right we give back to it." He wasn't seeking praise. His reward was in the work itself, in the knowledge that he was contributing to something larger than himself. In that simple exchange, a profound truth settled in Clara's heart. The courage and goodness she saw in Eli were treasures far more valuable than any fortune Richard could ever amass. Her days became a study of his character. She'd see him before sunrise, feeding the horses, their soft knickers a friendly greeting. He'd be sweeping the stables clean, not because he was told, but because he valued order and care. When another ranch hand struggled, Eli was there, offering a hand without being asked, his help a quiet gift. He'd check on the cattle, his trained eye spotting any sign of trouble, his small, consistent efforts preventing countless minor accidents. The camera of her memory lingered on these moments. The gentle way he'd pat a horse Isi's neck, the focused set of his jaw as he repaired a latch, the quiet satisfaction on his face as he looked over a job well done. It was the quiet heroism of everyday life. From her window she watched him, a growing conflict stirring within her. Her life with Richard was safe, secure, but the admiration she felt for Eli's pure, uncomplicated heart was a current pulling her toward a different understanding of the world. She tried to bridge this gap, to bring some of that appreciation into her own home. "Richard," she began one evening, "have you noticed how much Eli has been helping? He's done so much to keep things running smoothly." But Richard, his mind on ledgers and profits, waved a dismissive hand. "He's a ranch hand, Clara. It's his job." His pride wouldn't allow him to acknowledge the value of work that didn't directly increase his wealth. Clara didn't argue. Confrontation wasn't the answer. Instead, she found quieter ways to show her support. On a hot afternoon, she'd appear with a cool glass of water, her smile a silent thank you. Sometimes it was a small plate of food left on a workbench, or a simple, "We appreciate your hard work, Eli," as she passed by. These small gestures became their language, tender moments rich with unspoken meaning. A connection was forming, not of romance, but of shared values, of respect, trust, and a mutual understanding of what it means to be good. Eli, in turn, noticed her kindness. He'd meet her gaze for just a moment, a brief but meaningful glance that acknowledged her support. It was a subtle, wholesome bond, a safe harbor of mutual admiration in a world often too busy to notice the quiet heroes. The ranch itself seemed to hold its breath, reflecting their story. Cinematic shots captured the breathtaking beauty of sunrises painting the sky, of horses grazing peacefully in the vast fields. The wind whispered through the tall grass, a gentle reminder of the power of nature and the values that endure: integrity, kindness, and courage. Eli's steady work had woven a thread of safety and respect through the ranch. The other hands, initially indifferent, now offered him smiles and nods of appreciation, recognizing the genuine worth of his contributions. Then, one afternoon, the sky began to darken. A storm was rolling in. Not a violent tempest, but a dramatic display of nature's power. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves and kicking up dust. While others might have panicked, Eli remained a picture of calm. He moved with purpose, securing gates, moving the animals to the shelter of the barns, and guiding the other workers with a patient, reassuring presence. Clara didn't hesitate. She was by his side, not with grand instructions, but with small, helpful actions, holding a gate steady against the wind, checking a latch, her presence a silent message of support. The storm, though visually dramatic, was a gentle one. The rain fell in soft, cinematic sheets, cleansing the air and adding a layer of beauty to the tension. Together, they worked, a silent team united against the elements. When the storm passed, it left behind a world washed clean and glistening. The air was fresh, the ranch safe. In the quiet aftermath, Clara and Eli shared a brief, heartfelt look. It was a look of relief, of a shared challenge met and overcome, a look of profound, mutual respect. Even Richard, standing on the porch, offered a quiet, almost imperceptible nod in Eli's direction. It was a small concession, but a significant one. The storm had revealed a truth that could no longer be ignored. Quiet heroism and teamwork were the true foundations of the ranch. As evening fell, the sky bled into gold and orange, casting a warm, peaceful glow over the land. The horses rested, the workers relaxed, and a sense of calm settled over the ranch. In this tranquil moment, Clara walked toward Eli, a warm drink in her hands. It was a small token, but it carried the weight of all her unspoken gratitude. She offered it with a gentle smile. "Thank you, Eli, for everything." He accepted it with a humble nod, his eyes full of a quiet gratitude that mirrored her own. The camera pans wide, showing the two of them standing together on a small hill, looking out over the peaceful ranch. They are not lovers, but kindred spirits, their bond forged in shared values and mutual respect. True courage is often quiet. True love is, at its heart, respect. And kindness, no matter how small, will always find its home in the hearts of those who are open to receiving it. As the emotional music swells, we see them standing against the magnificent sunset. Two small figures in a vast landscape, their shared presence a testament to hope, a quiet promise for a better future. Thanks so much for watching our story. If you were moved by the quiet heroism of Eli and Clara, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. We'll see you next time.